There have still been no arrests made in the killing and mutilation of 2 young boys in Soweto. Action SA's Herman Mashaba will be joining different faith groups in visiting the families to offer comfort. In fact, residents are losing hope that the case will be solved. Our reporter Manqoba Mchunu is on that story and joins us now. Manqoba, just right now, we understand that communities in the area have started patrolling the streets to prevent an incident of this nature happening again. What's the latest?
Indeed, William. In fact, they're not only patrolling the streets, but also what we saw on Friday, where community members are getting together and cleaning up some of the areas here, cutting the long grass to ensure that the criminals don't have anywhere to hide in this community. Of course, they're still shattered about what happened here. The community is still looking for answers. None of them have got those answers, as we know that the police are still investigating, and there's still no arrests that have been made in this case. But what we're seeing this afternoon, again, political parties coming to support the families, visiting the 2 families, just to grieve with them, just to mourn with them, but also just trying to make sense of what has happened here this afternoon. Action SA here visiting the families, also just speaking to the families as far as the investigation is concerned. Of course, what we've been hearing from the political parties is that they would want to see justice being served. In fact, many of them that were here had echoed sentiments that they want police to speed up their investigations to ensure that the killers are brought to book. I'm just going to ask my colleague Percy just to walk with us here as we go towards the family and where the leader of Action SA is visiting, and just speaking to the family. As you can see, these families are still, trying to piece together what happened. They're still trying to find answers as to what happened. This all happened so fast, according to some of the families that we're hearing. It happened all so fast. The boys were here just now, and then in the next few minutes they had disappeared. And of course, that the families had then been involved in a search that went overnight trying to find these young boys. That's up until Thursday morning, around about 3 o'clock in the morning, where they had then been told by the police after they'd come into the houses. It was literally a few minutes after they'd come into the houses, then they were told that these young boys had been found. Of course, the circumstances surrounding that, they're quite shocking. Their bodies were mutilated, and it has left many here looking for answers. But Mr. Mashaba, you're here as well as one of the political parties. We've seen, of course, many of the political parties coming here to this family. What is it that you're coming to say as Action SA?
Well, I'm here to come and pay my condolences, not only as a political party, as someone who grew up in this community, and all these family members, this community from the 70s. My aunt has got a home here, used to visit here 3, 4, 5 times a year. I grew up here as a young child in this community. So when I heard about this, actually, I got nervous that what happens if it's really one of my family members, because just in this area alone, I've got 3 family members. So people that I know, but I'm here to say we are really very sorry. And I invited former Chief Tembe to join us, and we've made an offer to the family to discuss with them to see if there's been any progress with the police. Unfortunately, we believe there's not much. So I've made an offer to the family that can we ask Chief Tembe, because he's obviously quite connected with the police, where we can offer a 50,000 rands reward for the police to probably might really trigger someone coming out, and the family is happy with that. So they've now mandated and requested Chief Tembe to follow it up. We hope that there might really be an incentive for the police to investigate this matter with seriousness, because as you can imagine, those criminals are out there in the public. They're a danger not only now to the deceased, they're a danger to other children in our country and other parts of our country. And honestly, I think, for me as Herman Mashaba, I'm really very angry. And I'm saying to South Africans, I cannot really see how South Africa is going to solve this heinous crimes until such time that we really bring the death penalty, that when we find this murderers, we must never give them a second chance to go out and murder someone else. But yes, I understand the Constitution at the moment does not allow it. And I think I can tell you from my side, we're going to work very hard to ensure that one day we can get South Africans. We need to really reconsider this constitutional amendment, because we can't let people just really murder us, murder our children. We're a murder capital of the world. We're a rape capital of the world. And honestly, I cannot accept anyone to expect us to just sit back and say, we've got rights. What about the rights of the family? I'm sure you've heard inside the house here the pain that this family is really going through. So yes, the arrest of these people, heinous criminals, will be a relief. But honestly, it's not going to be a relief, because 5 to 3 years down the line, these criminals will be let free and roam the streets and come and create even more. Because one thing that is happening in our country, most of the crimes are created by people who've actually created crimes before. So that's why I feel no.
Let me just step in on that, Mr. Mashaba, because there are also allegations from community members that are saying that this could perhaps be Muti-related. People are telling us that they're even scared, for their children to be playing outside, and just the brutality of all of this. What does it say really about our communities and the safety in our communities? And if I can just ask you to lift up your cap a bit so that you can see you properly, Mr. Mashaba, as you answer that question.
Well, absolutely. These are some of the issues coming out when I'm engaging the family. They are really quite concerned when these kids, as far as they are aware, they got kidnapped somewhere else. But one of the boys was found here in this neighborhood. There's really something really very suspicious. And if this matter is multi-related, it would require committed law enforcement agencies, proper detectives like what we used to have before. And that's why I'm really of the personal view, that South Africans, if we want to really live in peace, let us not allow criminals in our communities. You kill someone, we must also, make sure that we don't really give you a second chance. Because how does anyone ever think that you can use body parts to solve whatever problems? You are just really causing deep pains to families, because yes, we are all going to die, but we cannot really sit back and allow our communities and our children in particular to die in this kind of fashion.
Okay. And just in terms of, you spoke, of course, about the investigations, but in terms of pressure that you'll be piling as a political party, you've spoken about the reward that you're offering, a 50,000 Rand reward, but of course you'll also be wanting to see these police investigations being speeded up.
Without any doubt. It is for that reason, instead of saying to Chief Tembe, just let us go in or engage the police, I'm saying is let us actually put pressure on the police so that they don't have any excuse whatsoever not to investigate this particular case. They're not using their own resources. What we are saying is we are offering a Section SA to say we are offering you the 50,000 rands, offer it to someone who can give you the leads so that these criminals are arrested. Because there's no way anyone can tell me that someone somewhere must have obviously witnessed what happened. And let's really hope that this 50,000 rands can really be an incentive for them to really come forward and assist us in making sure that these people are arrested. So there's one thing, we can go to the police. I'm sure no South African can deny the fact that our law enforcement agency and our total lawlessness in this country has reached unacceptable levels, and we need to really, as a society, find ways ourselves as South Africans If we are going to allow this government to continue in this manner where our people are being murdered and nothing is happening, and we don't have professional, committed policemen and women that what we used to have before, unfortunately, it is up to us to really make such decisions.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Mashaba. There was the leader of Action SA, Herman Mashaba, just talking. Of course, these are just some of the parties that have been visiting the families, trying to make sense of it all, what really happened, the brutality that surrounds this murder is still quite shocking, not only to residents here, but also just to South Africans at large, how two young boys were mutilated and left and dumped in their bodies. And I think everybody in this community, including the families, are equally baffled. And, they want to see some sort of action being taken. And, of course, the families are still inconsolable. The mothers are torn, having to identify their young ones, a 5-year-old and a 6-year-old, in that state that they found them in. It's something that no parent wishes to see, and certainly something that, these parents will hope would not be in vain. They want to ensure that justice is served and that the other children also in this community would not have to face similar circumstances. Of course, we're expecting that a memorial service will be held. We'll know that later on there'll also be a prayer service that will be held by the different church groups here in this community who are coming to condemn in the strongest term what has happened here, but also to ask for divine intervention, to ask for God to intervene and help this community to fight this scourge, and those that are behind it to be also put behind bars. That is expected to take place at 2 this afternoon.
Manqoba, before we let you go, do we know anything from the South African Police Service in as far as the leads are concerned for having at least someone to arrest or to answer for these children's murders?
Well, at this stage, William, we are told by police that the investigations are still continuing. So as far as that is concerned, there still have been no arrests that have been made. We're told that the task team that has been deployed is looking into this matter. Of course, they're working with the occult unit that has also been roped in to look whether or not this is in any way related to any muti or ritual killings, as this is a suspicion from some of the community members who say because of the fact that these bodies were mutilated, there are suspicions that this could have been muti-related. Of course, there have also been videos that have been making rounds on social media that claims that some of the suspects have been caught. Those are not true at this stage, according to police, but they will not divulge much on the arrest or the investigation, how far that is. But what we do know is that they will be relying and speaking to the young boy that survived this incident. There were 3 of them, you recall, when this incident occurred, 2 5-year-olds and 1 6-year-old. And he's the one that will be helping as far as trying to piece together what really happened, as far as trying to locate the vehicle and those suspects that are involved. But of course, at this stage, the investigation is still at a sensitive stage, but up until now, there's been no arrest so far.
Thank you so much. That was eNCA reporter Manqoba Mchunu.